Good evening, everybody. Hell's Unicorn here once again, and I'm just going to be doing a little bit of reflecting on the events that transpired yesterday. And you know something? I'm actually going to break with the conventional wisdom amongst those of us who are skeptical as to the actual nature of these events. What I'm going to do instead is I'm simply going to reflect on the situation as is. And I'm going to do this by assuming a couple of things that I don't necessarily believe to be true. I'm going to assume that everything that the news media has been reporting is accurate and true. I am going to assume that Osama bin Laden has been able to elude us for 10 years, despite the fact that the video content that we keep hearing about him releasing always seems to look the same. And I'm going to assume that it was at the behest of the current administration that this actually all came to pass. That's the one thing that I think even most conventional thinkers are beginning to question, the notion that Obama's congratulating himself for single-handedly taking down the head of the monster, Al-Qaeda, the boogeyman, so to speak. Given all of this, what next? What now? We have people saying that there's rumors that there's a nuclear bomb planted somewhere in Europe and that it's going to be set off at some point, and then this is going to ignite more further retaliations on both sides, this side, that side, da-da-da-da-da. It's absolute, utter insanity, and people are fooled by it. I'm going to say something really controversial right now, and I hope I'm not misunderstood in saying this. A day or two after the 9/11 attacks occurred, I was a student at a college in Pennsylvania, and I turned on the news. I was actually glued to the news at the time because I was a sucker just like everybody else. And I saw images of people in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip out dancing in the street and celebrating that the 9/11 attacks had occurred. Last night, I turn on the news, and what do I see? I see a bunch of ignorant, idiotic, dumbass people waving American flags and dancing around in the streets of New York. I've got a novel question for everybody here. What is it that is actually separating what we're doing in the Middle East right now with our interventionist foreign policy and what was done to us, allegedly on 9/11? This is a question that I would like to have answered. What is the difference between us and them? Because for that moment last night when I saw those people out there celebrating and chanting, I lost all sense of distinction between us and them. I couldn't figure out who was who. We have a country that's in a state of utter unrest. Economic unrest, social unrest, you name it. We've got a debt which the interest on it alone is nearly insurmountable. We have an unemployment rate that is ridiculously high. I mean, we're talking Great Depression level high, if not higher, given that they've been fixing the numbers to make it look better than it actually is. And they've found new ways not to count people that are either unemployed and not receiving benefits or are underemployed and barely making ends meet. We have a bit of a sideshow, albeit a very interesting one, going on with regards to the president's actual eligibility as being such. We have a Social Security number that for all intents and purposes looks fake. It looks like our president is actually guilty of Social Security fraud. We have a pile of bodies that is continuing to grow in Libya, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and God knows where next, given the current trend in things. The Middle East is a powder keg, and the fuse has been lit, and it's getting near the end. Where does all this end? Okay, Osama bin Laden is dead. Now what? Can we start to draw down our troops? Can we start to live within our means? I don't think so. Our government, and yea, the majority of the people living in this country, are too addicted to the false power that they think they have right now. They're addicted to this system. And when the system comes crashing down, there is going to be carnage. There is going to be chaos. And those who are pointing this out are marginalized, laughed at, ignored, pushed aside. Don't want to listen to those people. They're nutty. Who's the bigger psychopath? The person who yells 9/11 is an inside job, or the person who supports killing people en masse for revenge? That's what we're talking about here with what has been going on in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We're well beyond the notion of seeking justice here. Seeking justice is when the guilty stand trial. It's not when innocent civilian A, B, C, D, E, F, and G die in order to get bad guy A or B. Doesn't work that way. That's mindlessness. And I don't want to participate in it. But my status as an American taxpayer forces me to. And that's why I'm always so angry when I make these videos. That's why I'm always in an utter state of unrest about this. Because I don't consent to any of this. I don't support any of it. I want nothing to do with it. But it's my problem whether I like it or not, and it's all of your problem as well. Even if you don't live in this country, you're essentially involved in this. This is how widespread it's become. Is there any way that we can get clean of this? I await your comments. With prudence to myself and benevolence to all of you, good evening.